I know that it's something. Tell you one thing, one day I'll be stunting. Slamming doors, spending coins like it's nothing. Baby, jump in, baby, jump in. I got jokes for you. Not just smoke control. Now you want smoke. Why you change your...
Hello there, Wesley here in 100% Fit Gym, and we are doing a back workout together. Me and David Hoffmann, both working on the back for the 2020 Mr. Olympia. Really excited for it, both classical physique pros. So let's make it happen in this back workout, guys. Let's do it. With the, I have the width, but I need the thickness.
Yeah.
Perfect. Come on. Nice. Try to go to failure after each last set of a exercise.
Actually, I try to do 4 sets to failure.
Yeah. Really? On each exercise?
Yeah, most time.
So
I mean, what's failure, you know?
Yeah.
That's
like when you cannot complete, like you feel like, okay, I cannot go up entirely anymore, then it's basically failure.
much. Maybe not Dorian Yates failure, but
yeah, that's a different amount of failure. Because some people only like to do, like they say, okay, I'm only gonna do 1 set on exercise, but then they do like 4 sets before, but then 1 work set. But for me, and I think for you too, it doesn't feel like a complete exercise then.
I think Jay Cutler said he never went to failure.
Yeah,
I don't even know how this concept works.
Yeah, me neither.
How did you get stronger?
Yeah,
I don't know.
How do you know what weight to pick if you don't go to failure? Like at some point you pick such a heavy weight that you have to go to failure at some point. I mean, how do you always stay below that limit? So I also go usually 1 or 2 sets for each exercise to failure, and the first few sets are then like the sets to build up to that weight, but then the rest is failure sets to me too. So I'm this like the set I'm gonna do now will go to failure. So and I don't want to force anything, because if I notice, like I get my distal bicep tendon, like my biceps are gonna take over if I really try to focus on the back. And if the back goes to failure and you try to push on, you automatically will do other muscles. So I get injuries. Well, I never got an injury yet, but I know I get an injury quick here if I try to force it, because sometimes it's like sensitive.
I think I had this 2 times and this 1 time. The
injured.
Is it distal?
Yeah, I think so. Distal bicep tendon. It's the one connecting the bicep to the forearm here, and I had that for a long time. It goes only away if I don't train it for like 2 weeks, but that's why I don't get it from bicep work, but I get it from back work. So that's why I do go to failure, but I don't try to surpass that failure rep. So this is pretty much the weight I want to keep using then.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, I have one of these in my gym, but I never use it.
I never thought I was using it until I saw another bodybuilder saying it on a video, that always starting with this exercise really helped him to get that thickness finally. And also Jay Cutler says if you want a big back, you have to do pull-ups. And the way he does pull-ups, I mean, he's so heavy, it looks like half reps, but I mean, when Jay Cutler says it, you know how big his back was. So I was like, okay, I cannot do regular pull-ups, because then I can do maybe 8, and then it's over, and that's already the heaviest set I can do. So with an assisting weight, you can actually get into the muscle and use mind-muscle connection to do the exercise instead of just trying to get up.
Yeah,
with the
that's
pull-up.
interesting. I mean, you could also do lat pull down, but it feels different.
Yeah.
You would think it's like the same, but it's not.
You think it's the same, but when you use your body weight, you automatically move in a more natural way that the muscle is designed for. So you don't really go straight down like a lat pull down, but you go like into the back more, and that's when you feel the muscle can contract optimally. And that's why I like this one. Good one. Usually I do 4 or 5 total sets on this, counting the first. But sometimes I like to do a back off set, which I just did, like choosing a lighter weight. So I think we now reached set number 6, maybe total. This is a 6th set, I think. And this was my last one, by the way, of this exercise.
Is this like, what are they called, Mac grips?
Yeah,
it's a different company, but
it's this is a Spanish company. I went to a different gym in the Netherlands, and they had a few of these, but now we bought the entire rack. So each pulley now has like ergonomic grips, or how do you say that? Like it fits perfectly in your hand. So it really enables you to use more of your back and less of having to focus on the grip. So sometimes you're limited by the amount of grip you have, but here you can really get into it and then really pull with the back more, and it just feels better.
Spanish company?
Yeah, from Spain.
I have to look that up.
Not just smoke with you, now you wanna smoke. Why you change your Why you change your Why you do this shit before? Why you the dog? That's me. Who got that for ya? No, that's me. I got smoke, I got Henny, I got drink. Down, I could see it in your face. Don't need to tell me what you think. So I think we should be with the details. I think we should be honey.
You also do like triceps bars?
Yes,
because I saw them in Spain.
Yeah, these are tricep bars. So you have them hold them like this, and you also have ropes with this exact grip. Let's see, there's a few here. Now this, for example, is for the biceps. Like you hold them, you see, like this. Like this, perfect for the biceps. You have the same one for the triceps somewhere. So it's just the other way around.
Yeah, I think I remember I trained when I turned pro. I trained in Malaga, and then they had one. I called it the bat, like the plane for Batman. Yeah. It looked like that. It was for triceps. I think it was.
Oh yeah, kind of. So my training week basically looks like I have 3 different days, and it's only 3 different days because I really want to have the frequency of my workouts up. So it's going to be the legs, which is a very important thing in my workout schedule, of course, to work on the weak points. And after legs, I have chest and triceps, and then back and biceps, and then a rest day, and then repeat again. So I used to have a pure tricep day also within those days to really work on the weak point of the triceps. But in my opinion, it's just a small muscle group, so it's already brought up quite a lot. But what I really want to focus on now is the back thickness and the legs, and I keep the chest workout in as frequent as the other workouts because triceps are involved in there as well, so I can work on each weak muscle group with the same frequency. And the leg workouts are always the more hardcore workouts that take longer, more effort, and also a higher nutrition intake on those days to really make sure those legs grow. And on a chest workout day, for example, the nutrition is lower. So because that's not a weak point, it's a strong point for me. So if you put the same amount of effort in every workout, you will not only work on the weak points, but also the strong points. So everything grows at the same time, and the weak points will remain the weak points compared to the other muscle groups. So that's why I try to really focus as much as possible on the legs, as much as possible on the back, to eat more on those days and then less on the chest day. So it's basically 3 different days with 1 or 2 rest days a week, usually only 1 day, and just work as hard as possible for that 2020 Olympia. Because now we have the off time to really make this lean bulk really work well, and probably will be a lot heavier than I've ever been in terms of the body fat percentage compared to how heavy I am. So that's going to be a record, I think, this time, to really bring my best to the Olympia stage. So that's basically my workout, how it looks like in a week. And that's just as easy to go heavy.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, that's also the benefit of having your own gym. The rules are your own. So some gyms don't allow it, but it doesn't matter here. You can do whatever you want to make it as challenging as possible. And it's also not used as frequently as in a commercial gym, because if people would use this all day long and year round, it would deteriorate a lot faster, of course. But now it doesn't matter, because I'm pretty much the only one who always uses a stack and with extra weights, so then it will last a lot longer.
Actually, I don't have a normal week. I used to do the, how's it called in English? The 5-day split, like for, I don't know, 15 years. And actually just recently I mixed it up a little. I changed some things. I trained more often. Not as often. You do every body part 2 times a week?
On average, yes.
On average, yeah. Maybe not 2 times a week, but every 4 to 5 days. So I try to do back 2 times a week, and with like 2 completely different trainings.
Yeah.
So I had like 10 different exercises over 1 week, and that worked pretty good for me. I mean, the back really got better. I tried it with my legs a few years ago, 2 times a week. It was too much.
Yeah.
I almost even think I could do legs like every 10 days. Might be even better. But then you feel like you're being lazy, Yeah. So I do it at least once a week.
That's the problem.
But,
you don't immediately find out if it works. So
and sometimes you find something, and like 3 days later you look better, and you think you found it, and you do it again the next time, but the effect is not the same,
Yeah.
It's weird sometimes.
Yeah. In my opinion, if you can progress on your weight from time to time, then you know that you're doing something right. Because at least then you're recovered enough in between. You're eating plenty to recover, and then if you're able to do more weight, then you will break down the muscle again and build upon that. But then the question is, how long in between is the shortest amount of time to get stronger? And that's always the question.
And the question is, if it was like maybe 5 days in summer, and now it's winter and you're heavier and I don't know, more stressed and older, and you have different, I don't know, nutritions in your body. Is it still the same?
Yeah.
So
a lot of different factors.
yeah, sometimes like I remember last year my legs when I was prepping for New York Pro, and I was at FIBO. I didn't train legs for like 2 weeks, and it looked insane. You know, they were so deep, the cuts.
Yeah.
But that's not like a strategy to just only train your legs every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it only works because you train your legs more frequent, then take a break, and then they are allowed. They're allowed to uptake all the glycogen. They won't be wasted, and then all the fluid, the water from the muscle ache is gone too. Then they look a lot better. So that's why we apply that before a show. Of course, we train legs like 2 weeks in advance. We stop, but if you do that throughout the entire year, you'll miss a lot of workouts you could have had.
I had that this year with the chest training. I saw a video of I think it was Mark Bell training with Charles Glass.
Oh yeah.
And he did the hammer press, and he did like 5 reps, and he did like 1, 2, 3, like this 5 reps with pausing. And I did that, and like 2 days later my chest was straight and full. And I thought, yeah, that's it. And I do it like this every time now, but it doesn't, you know, compound like this.
No. Machine that I would like to change a little bit, because when you see Arnold, he goes all the way like this and then back, but you cannot do it here because the range of motion isn't long enough. So I'm always,
I think the footstep is a little too low, right?
yeah, it's not entirely anatomically correct.
If it was higher, you would have more torque.
So what I always do is I just force myself to stay straight, then really try to contract that middle part of the back as I go back down, so you can really feel the eccentric part instead of like normally you force the stretch, but you can't do it here. You can only do it if you sit on a bench and use cables and then try to do it like that. But you know, this one is the only one that I would like to change.
Embrace your problems, huh?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Who said that?
Tom said that to me.
Tom Platz.
Yeah.
Then it must be correct.
That's true. I mean, sometimes if you don't have a lot of fancy equipment, you have to do squats and bend over rows and stuff like that. And sometimes it's even better, you know.
Exactly. If you have too many fancy things, you are more inclined to do those, which simply do not have the effectiveness of the old school training methods, which always work.
Or you have a machine where like it feels kind of weird,
Yeah.
but it forces you to do things different.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good.
Yeah, because now I cannot go as heavy here as normal, because normally you are able to force yourself and go back down, but with this it's not possible.
Yeah, I can feel it in the traps.
Yeah, because you have to stay straight, so it puts a different tension on the back. I do think it's good for the back thickness, because normally we already have a wide back, and the only thing this does is the width. So now we are forced to only work the thickness.
What's your favorite back exercise, Wesley? Or your top 3?
Well, my top 3 back exercises would honestly, since a few months, would be the first one we did. Like the pull-up exercise, because it's the most natural way of using the back. Then I really love also rowing, so like a T-bar row or a barbell row, any row like that. And I recently also started doing more rack pulls, so going really heavy on the being able to go heavy with the back and really feel that posterior chain, like the lower back, and get those Christmas tree muscles working. So that's also a favorite of mine. And of course you have so many different variations of rows.
Oh, sorry. Did we finish everything?
Almost. But if I had to give my top 3, that would be it. But of course, a very famous one, the dumbbell pullover, which was done by Arnold himself, which I've been doing because of him, is also one of my favorites. But I haven't been doing it that often anymore, because for me that really works the thickness, the width, and I want to work on the thickness. And if I keep working on the width, only a certain percentage of your nutrition goes to what you're working on. So if you work a lot more on the width as well, it's going to go to that area as well. And I just want to put everything into that thickness. So for now, prioritizing thickness exercises for me is what it's all about. So I'm not going to be doing a lot of the exercises I used to be doing a year ago. So every year basically my top 3 could change in terms of which exercises I like most. A lot of people go so heavy on, like if you watch Instagram, you see so many people go super heavy on the barbell row. But if you use really no momentum, it's impossible to go that heavy. It's not possible.
I tried things like stopping at the top and stuff like that. I used to do it with like 140 something.
Yeah.
But if you do like 80 and try to hold it at the top, it's a whole different game.
You gotta get into that contraction. If you can't get into the contraction,
it's always only my lats.
Yeah, exactly. Like this already feels heavy. The closer your grip is to your body, the stronger you're able to use you can do the pull. Because if you do it really far away, you have a lot less strength to pull it. Like from here, you basically are the strongest. So that's why it's pretty narrow. But sometimes I like to do a little more wide. But it kind of depends on what we did beforehand. Because now we did a pretty wide grip with the row, so now I'm targeting a little more too narrow grip.
Like this?
Yeah, like shoulder width, something like that. Alright, I always like to use a belt for the last set, just to feel a little bit more safe for the lower back, and it feels more stable as well. I'm able to focus more on, I know this exercise is for both the lower back, but also for the rhomboids in my opinion, for the upper and middle back thickness. So that's what I try to focus on, pulling to the upper abs. So by keeping the lower back safe, I'm able to focus a little bit more on those muscles as well. And I like to, I used to do you ever do direct trap work? Like
shrugs, yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that as well, but I find something for the shrugs that combines a row with it to work even better for me. Because if you only go up, you really only work like this part. And I also want to work the traps that go on the back, like the thickness on the back. So I like to do this variation, but then face pull variation. This one, which you can use for the triceps as well, but we can use it for face pulls. But then instead of focusing on the rear delts, you really focus on the traps. And that way, because I used to do this only focusing on the rear delts, but now they are getting overpowered. And the traps can never be big enough. Let's see. And I like to go a little higher rep on the traps, because I read in research that traps respond better to higher reps. A lot of people go super heavy with them, but instead, like the thickness, like the mass, also really responds to higher reps and getting a really good pump there. So that's why I like to do that. So at least 15 reps. And you also have to take less rest in between, because that creates metabolic stress in the muscle, and that also causes muscle growth there. I weigh 118 kilograms, which is 6 kilograms above my allowed stage weight. And I never really have a body goal in terms of weight that I want to weigh. But every week I do want to gain some weight in combination with strength in the gym. If you gain weight without the strength, you simply gain fat. So that's why I try to combine the two of them, to make sure that it is muscle mass and not fat.
Yeah, feels good. But I think you almost need these.
Yeah.
If you just have a rope, it's
exactly
not that good.
You can't do it with a rope. So that's why I also use this for back exercises, like for a row if I do with the bench. So you can really, like your grip is really sturdy in this. Like you don't have to focus on grabbing it like a rope. It hurts as well. And with this, it's a little less uncomfortable. So you can really use very heavy weight like this for, we don't have hammer strength machines here. So that's why I like to use this one to mimic a lot of hammer strength movements like this to, basically allow yourself to do more angles for the back. But I'm pretty much done for the back. And do you have time for a bicep exercise? Yeah, sure. The last exercise is going to be a concentration curl, the famous Arnold exercise to train the bicep peak. And you can never have too big of a bicep peak, so if you're going to do an exercise like that, make sure to work that peak, and one of the best ones is the concentration curl in my opinion. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start out with fairly lightweight, but then go heavier as soon as possible once the bicep is fully warmed up. That's it.
That's it? Okay, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap, man.
That was Wesley's back workout. You're invited to come to my gym.
That's awesome.
We do have hammer machines.
Ah!
So, and it's a vintage gym. You will like it, I think.
will like it for sure.
So you're invited to come, and then
Thank you.
You can do my training.
Yeah, should do that soon.
Maybe leading up to the Olympia or even sooner.
Yeah, that's good.
Be cool. But
preferably when we're still a little bit on the strength side, in bulk.
Thank you very much.
No problem, man. It was a pleasure training with you.
Training the Christmas tree today.
Merry Christmas.